Hip politics, baby.
And I'm alright. I'm about to count us down. You ready? Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, count us down. Lego. 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Welcome back to another edition of the Hip Politics Podcast. It's your boy, Mr. Cameron Calvin, aka Mr. Hip Politics, aka Mr. 216 to the 202, aka the Communicator of Color. You know,
it's gonna be a minute. It's gonna be totally pontificating.
I'm not pontificating. This is how we kick it off.
Nothing.
All right,
No,
man.
here's what's funny though, because I've known Cam since high school. So all these different names, it's like, all right, cool. The evolution of you is wonderful. I love it.
Okay, and I'm here with to my far right, I'm here with my co-pilot, my co-host. Co-host. Mr. Michael McQuerry, a.k.a. the Mayor of Capitol Hill, a.k.a. Mr. DC Nuke 90. What's up, Mike?
Hola, que pasa? Welcome back.
Is that all you know?
Yeah, right now I said hello.
Hello, what is up?
Hey, it's after homecoming. It's after homecoming, man.
All of us up here, right?
Yeah, this is a special edition after Howard, the only homecoming that matters, the Howard homecoming. But we're here with a super duper special guest. Let me gush on you for a little bit because this is my homie, this is my family, this is my friend, this is my friend. We go way back. She's been one of the most inspiring people in my life. And she doesn't know that it's like a peer inspiration. I met her, I was 13 or 14 years old. And I went to an NAACP youth meeting at a building that no longer exists near downtown Cleveland. And she was running it, and she was like a sophomore. And I think it was a freshman or sophomore. And I was like, it just blew my mind that you had the adults working for you. You had all these high school students working for you. You just sounded super smart. I don't know what we were protesting at the time, but it was something important. Fast forward, you come to Howard. We both end up going to Howard. Well, even before that,
you went to prom.
I went to prom. I went to junior.
Erica,
No, it was junior.
out.
Shout out to Erica. It was junior prom. So we shared a limo and everything. Fast forward, we get to Howard. Still the homie. Watching her. It was one thing to see her move youth around locally in Cleveland, but then she came through and immediately became a national force, both at Howard's campus and then throughout the country. She was student government HUSA president, so that was HUSA. I was in UGSA. I only was mature enough to handle other undergrads, but she was the HUSA president. So that means she was over graduate students and undergrads, leading so many initiatives, have one of the most legendary careers there. Member of Alpha Chapter Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. One of the most, and then you just happen to be on a super line too. Like your line is beyond popping. Look, if you ever see something national pop off and they say she was a Alpha Chapter Delta, it's probably from your line.
So listen, it's 43, 2002.
Yeah. And then she came out of college immediately and had the super bomb job. Like was the youth, was national youth director for NAACP. On and on. Fast forward, you see her on TV probably weekly. You hear her voice on various radio panels. She's, along with her husband, who we're definitely going to get on too, have co-founded one of the most influential political action committees for Black candidates around the country. Like I said, she's a thought leader for people, not just Black people, not just women, but people in general. Like I said, she's one of the biggest personal and peer inspirations I've ever had in my career. And I'm just happy to have her on. Now, I told her I had to wait a little bit so we can get our numbers up, so we can so we making sure, because if I don't know if I'm gonna get you next year. If all the things we working on, I don't know if I can get you next year. So welcome Stefanie Brown James.
Yay!
Hi.
Thank you, Cam. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate being here, y'all.
No problem.
Well, Stefanie, thank you. Welcome to the Hip Politics Podcast. I've kind of explained over time what this whole hip politics movement is.
I follow.
Yeah, thank you.
I like it.
We're trying to mobilize the political power of the hip hop generation
sure.
and hip hop community. We really think there's a lot to offer on both fronts to kind of move a lot of initiatives forward, elect the right candidates, educate, and then also use hip hop as a way, in this platform to kind of educate the average American, because hip hop generation is like 40, 50 years long. There's people. I mean, Jay-Z will be 50 in December, and he's not even the oldest hip hop people. Rakim is in his late 50s. Like, I mean, you got some of the founders, and then you got Lil Pump or Lil such and such.
I don't know them, Cam. So don't.
But they still the hip hop generation. They are
no,
different.
You're right.
And so some
don't
of the
quiz me on them though, because I don't know. It's a lot of littles.
There's a lot of littles and youngs. But so we just wanted to, like I said, all those a few things I was able to touch on in your career and how I know you. But you do some of this translating, like so I feel like you've been a conduit to connect a lot of people to social justice movement, to the political process, politics as a whole. And you keep reinventing and coming up with something new, whether you're working for another organization or you the co-founding or founding your own. I gave a quick, super brief bio, but talk a little bit about how you got to where you are. I don't know where you can start.
I mean, I think you really kind of covered the ground. I appreciate that, Cam. I'm from Bedford Heights, Ohio, a little bit outside of Cleveland, and my parents are from Jackson, Mississippi.
Where I went to school.
They are?
Yes.
You and Yetta talk about that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's my line sister. Shout out to Yetta. My dad went to Jackson State.
Hey.
My mom went to Tougaloo.
Right down the street.
And it's so funny because growing up, I never thought about like being from an HBCU family. But yeah, so my parents grew up in the height of the civil rights movement. My aunt lived around the corner from Medgar Evers, you know, but growing up in Cleveland, we never talked about it a lot. And so I think it's just one of those things where like in my DNA, I've always felt like I want to help make the lives of Black people better. And I just think like that's just my fundamental like baseline foundation put on this earth to help do that. And so really everything that I've done up until this point, both I think personally and professionally, has really had that kind of as like the foundation. And so you mentioned NAACP, which for so many years was the bedrock for me. I mean, I got a lot of training on how to be an organizer from NAACP, how to be a leader from NAACP. I joined when I was 14, was able to work professionally. I started as National Youth Council coordinator. So I didn't just start as a director. Let me just say that, Cam.
When we got out of college, you were that.
I was a youth council coordinator.
What does that mean?
I helped to lead all the youth councils. There's youth councils, college chapters, in the youth division. And then I became National Youth and College Division Director. Then I became National Field Director, which is over both the adults and the youths. That ain't right. You know what I mean.
We got you.
And then after that, I was able to join the Obama for America campaign in 2012. And I ran Black Vote for that. So I was a National Black Vote Director. At the time, actually, it was called National African American Vote Director for the Obama campaign. And that was just a dope experience. Like, that just took everything for me to the next level in having to keep up with the pace of presidential politics, which is a beast. And then I realized, with all this experience, I think I want to work for myself. And so my husband, Quentin, and we met through NAACP. He was my intern at one time. That's another story for him to tell y'all about. Member of Kappa Alpha Psi. Want to throw that out there, Mike? Long story short, for the past 7 years, I've been an entrepreneur, helping on a variety of different issues through our firm, Vested Strategies. And now, and you mentioned a Collective PAC, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, but now I'm also the Vice President of Training and Community Engagement for Emily's List, which is the nation's largest resource for women in politics. So yeah, it's just been like
elect Black women.
Yeah, elect Black women for sure.
A progression.
And really elect all women. Let me just say, and so even with my transition now into Emily's List world, I am working to help elect pro-democratic or democratic pro-choice women of all backgrounds across this country, because we have to be able to join our power up to be able to defeat a lot of policies and people out here that don't want to see our folks rise. And so,
wow.
But most importantly, I'm a mother of two beautiful boys, Carter and Elijah. Carter's named after Carter G. Woodson, founder of Black History Month. And then Elijah is named after Elijah from the Bible, Prophet Elijah.
Aww.
Yeah.
They're cute and they're smart.
Thank you. Yes, they are. They're brilliant little black boys.
Wow. That's a lot. Did you have your question before I go into
So what inspires you?
What inspires me is there's always work to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's always innovation happening, and it's important to make sure that we're not lagging behind and figuring out new ways to reach out to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like it. I like what you said about the whole I've actually kind of considered myself a bit of a translator, because I just keep it real. Like, I am a real talk person, and I think sometimes with politics or civil rights or social justice, it's like, what are y'all talking about? Like, make it plain for me. Help me to understand how this issue affects me, because I got a whole list of problems I can tell you about. So if you're not helping me figure out, like, how all of this applies to my life and what I can do to help better the situation, then you've lost me. Right. And so to have opportunities where I can help do that, or help connect people to resources or to other people, to help them be able to manifest all the dreams they have for their lives, that to me is extremely motivating.
Interesting. And you said something interesting. I just want to help black people do better. Like, when did you come into that as a notion? Like, when did that fully form in your head that, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
In the 8th grade.
Seriously?
I mean, not specific. The whole, like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Black people are a little bit different in this country than other people. Mm-hmm. Like, in the 8th grade, I had a teacher named Miss Hilty, Marianne Hilty, and she is a white lady in the Bedford School District, and this lady gave me a love and a passion for Black history. Mm-hmm. Like, she was our coach for the Black History Challenge. She just made sure that we did everything as students to learn about Black history. Mm-hmm. And this was stuff that I had never heard of before. I had never seen pictures of lynchings before. I had never heard about some of the inventors and the powerful Black women that led the civil rights movement. And so in the 8th grade, I was just exposed to just this wealth of Black knowledge and information that I'm like, why don't I hear this anywhere else? Mm-hmm. You know, and this was just a separate. And
you were conscious of this in 8th grade?
Well, it was we had a Black History Challenge competition in February. Mm-hmm. And so we had teams, and your teams had to study Black history in order to, prepare for the questions. It's like, what's it called? Academic challenge or whatever, but for Black history. So it's only for a month, but you want to win. And so we're just studying everything. Cause it wasn't no like who spoke on, it wasn't just about MLK. It was like deep level of history that we had to research. And so through that process, I'm like, whoa, I'm sorry. Like all this has happened to Black people. Like why is not, and then even as a kid, and even kids now, they can see when stuff isn't fair, right? When stuff ain't equal. And so for me, I just started to realize like, whoa, this stuff is not being taught anywhere. And that's what made me gravitate towards the NAACP, because they had a place for young people to come together to talk about issues and talk about history and how we could be a part of that legacy. And so, so I would say in 8th grade, I got a passion for Black people. And as I became more of an adult, I got a passion for justice and for equality for all people. And so that's really where I'm at now.
And I guess fast forward to the Collective PAC. The Collective PAC is, one, you guys have some of the best swag in the political game. I gave away 2 of my square buttons this year. I was wearing buttons at Howard Homecoming. And they were like, "Ooh, building black political power and stuff like that."
It's funny you see that a lot of places now. I'm like, It's cool. I like to spread the love though. You know what I mean?
The little marketing tip, double down on it.
Yeah.
Like, because that is every time I wear that square button or I see people see the sticker, they want it. And
let me tell you that
I don't know how to translate that into getting a donor to turn them into donors, but.
The T-shirt gets a lot of attention. You know what I mean? You walk into the airport with a T-shirt that says "Build Black Political Power," you're gonna get a little bit of attention, and which is cool. And I would say and so now we just go by the collective.
Okay. So can you talk about this a little more?
So Quentin has a background in he did Obama 2007, 2008. I did Obama 12. He did Ready for Hillary PAC before, like in 15, 16. And so we both have kind of experiences in the presidential world and in politics, in general. And one of the things we kept realizing is, man, who has the back of Black candidates? Like, who's helping them out? Who's giving them the skills and the tools and most importantly, the money and the resources early to help them be successful? And actually, we looked at groups like Emily's List, which to me, Emily's List is like the best in the business when it comes to really like truthfully supporting candidates. And so we wanted to be the Black Emily's List. And so we started the collective in 2016 before the elections actually happened. We started in August. We kind of knew that Trump was going to be elected. We weren't surprised because we live, we travel across the country. And so to be able to see like, that's a lot of Trump signs in like blue districts, that may be a problem. We just realized like we got to have an organization that can help champion Black candidates and help train future Black candidates. And so we started the collective August 2016. We work on training, engaging, funding Black candidates across the country on a local, state, and federal level. We do men and women. So far, we've raised almost $7 million in 3 years since we've been founded, and we have an entity under every kind of political like funding spectrum. So we started off as the Collective PAC, which can take a certain limit of donations, but now we have the PAC. We have a super PAC. Our super PAC actually spent about $2 million in the Florida governor's race last cycle. We've given almost $1 million away to Black candidates. We have a new C3 arm that's just started, so we're going to do a lot more educational C3 activities. And then we have a C4, which our Black Campaign School training operation is under our C4, C3 umbrella. And that really helps us to be able to train Black candidates or Black potential future candidates across the country. We've trained now almost 1,000 Black folks all across the country to help them know what they need to do to win. You know what I mean? And I think our specialty with the collective is we get in early. Yeah. So before everybody was so hyped about Stacey Abrams and Andrew Gillum, we had already like been there. Do you know what I mean? And so sometimes too, it helps us to help give candidates leverage because we've been able to like build a name for the organization. We've had some difficult conversations with, entities that, there's a lot of political groups that play in primaries and that can actually hurt some Black candidates or they don't support Black candidates early. We've had some sit down meetings with leaders to be like, this isn't right, this is why. And so I think that's been able to help us build some credibility in this space. And so if we can be the ones to say, look, we're backing Jahana Hayes, who's a congresswoman now from Connecticut, we're going to back her. Now you all should do the same because of X, Y, and Z. We want to help, provide that leverage for Black candidates. And I just want to clarify that, like, while Quentin and I are the founders of it, and now Quentin really is the one that leads the day-to-day. I'm still an advisory board member, but I'm not a day-to-day person since I've transitioned to Emily's List.
Emily's List. And now so to stay on the collective and to stay on why that was so important, there weren't many Black PACs, if any, before you guys.
Yeah,
I mean, the CBCF.
Yeah, and they just do federal.
Yeah, they just do federal.
Definitely not.
Would Black people being kind of one of the bedrock of definitely the Democratic Party, but just we vote. We fought and died for our right to vote, and so we're politically active. Yeah. As a people here in America. And it dawned on me when you guys started. I was like, oh yeah, they're probably another one. And then I started realizing they're not. They don't exist. Which is wild.
We kind of yeah.
Because we've been getting money long enough as a people to have. We should have had one of these at least in the 80s, if not during the 60s.
It's been initiatives to. It's one thing that you can create anything. It's about sustaining it. you know, and so a lot of things have happened in the past. They just weren't sustained. And so our goal is to be sustainable, which is why basically we can take any form of political money out there. You know, you have a lot of C3 groups, a lot of nonprofits that work on civic engagement. That's cool. But we need groups to say, do not vote for him, vote for her because of X, Y, Z. And because we have a PAC or a super PAC, like, we're able to be a lot more forthcoming in saying specifically people that we should or should not support. And I think too, for us, like, because we believe at the end of the day, like, you got to have organized people and organized money. The money is the big factor in all of this. Like, I think they say that we're going to spend at least $1 billion in this 2020 election, at least $1 billion. That's a lot of money. And it's a lot of money, like, on a number of factors.
No, you mean we're spending that just on the presidential?
Oh, that's just on the presidential.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Presidential. You figure all the members of Congress have to run again. You got Senate races. You got gubernatorial races. You got all your state-based races. Like, the amount of money in politics is nuts. And if we aren't working to figure out how we both raise the money, because to be a donor, you got power. You know, you can go to a candidate, you can go to a campaign committee and say, look, I've been able to give $25 every single month. You should listen to me. And not to say that you should only listen to people because they donate, but we got to flex some power. And so for us, we feel like with the collective, I don't care if you're running in New York, Arizona, Mississippi, Ohio, and you're a Black candidate, I need to be concerned about having the first Black mayor of Montgomery. Like, I should be concerned about us having a governor that's Black in Georgia. And not just Black for Black's sake, but Black in that they are working to make sure that we can elevate Black people while also making sure that everybody in their state or their area is being elevated too. So that's where the whole collectiveness of our resources comes into play with the organization.
Interesting. Well, kind of transitioning from that and thinking about that collective mindset for hip politics, and this is something that I wanted to kind of pick your brain on, is I really think there's like an untapped wing of influence, money, cool factor in terms of like to making it relevant, that like Black politics, because most of hip hop is still Black for the most part. And
as far as artists,
as
not
far as
fan
art,
base.
yeah, not definitely not fan base. But to that point, you got Black artists who can influence non-Black fan bases.
Yeah.
Or be contributors in that influence. And I know, to me, it always feels like they do this. All right, Jay-Z come in for a concert 3 weeks before, and that's it. Or get behind Beto's campaign, Beyonce, do a photo shoot with his hat on. And it's just too little, too late, low-level engagement. But we, during CDC, we had our first hip politics, like Congressional Awards reception. And we honored Scarface, Brad Jordan, who's running for city council.
He's one of the collective candidates.
Yeah. Oh, he is. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he is.
Our homeboy Dallas Jones working on his campaign.
Okay. Shout out Dallas Jones.
Shout out Dallas.
Shout out Mr. Brad Jordan, a.k.a. Scarface, a.k.a. one of the most legendary hip-hop artists of all time. And I was like, oh, see, that's the next level. But I really think there's it always just kind of pisses me off when I see, like, man, y'all bring these people in super last minute, because I guess the only thing they're good for is mobilization, like GOTV, get out the vote. But as opposed to having some kind of sustained voice throughout a campaign, and not just behind candidates, but behind maybe some of these ballot initiatives and things that matter. What do you think where is that missing link of like what hip hop can be doing? Because like you said, we're in crisis mode for 2020.
Yeah.
And I think it's all hands and feet on deck. And I can't go by next year's knowing that I didn't do everything I could to try to you know what I mean, get this guy out of office and really like make sure we kind of flip the tables back on in the favor and direction of the American people. But what do you think that could be done, whether it's on the hip hop artist side, the community side? Like, what do you think that? To kind of really to get to
I think one of the first things is talking to the agents and the managers. Like that's where a lot of stuff happens, you know. And so being able to sit down with agencies and with the people that are able to help navigate what the artists do is the most important, because I can talk to possibly, you know, an artist, but I need also their translator to help them see the importance of it. Because a lot of artists don't automatically have that passion for social justice or getting engaged. You know, everybody's not a T.I. Like T.I. over the last few years has really been speaking up, being very much a person who is not afraid to talk about the realities of what's happening in our communities. And I think that's a good prototype of how artists need to show up in this space. Killer Mike the same way. I mean, that dude is like on fire right now. You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of times though, for some of these other artists and some of the younger artists, it's getting to the people that have influence to help them see how they need to be involved, and for us to also make way for them to be involved the way they want to be. I don't want you to just come perform. Like, I would love to have a thought partner in the space from the beginning as we're designing something. You know, if we're going to design an initiative to reach out or to educate voters, it shouldn't be where we have the artists coming in just to perform. Like, no, I need you to help me from the stages of we're planning this, the strategy phase, because otherwise you're also diminishing the talents and the skills and the brilliance that they have to bring to the space. And so I'd like to see a lot more of that happen.
To your point on the artists and managers, I think that is the hidden key.
Yeah.
But so many of them are driven by a financial motivation. It's like, hey, I need to bring in as many deals that bring money to my artists so they can A, justify their existence in the artist's realm, and B, keep the money train and keep the artists going and relevant and hot. I think, but there are some agencies, to your point, like I know CAA has a whole semi-political division, politics.
We sat down
justice.
with them. I'll just leave it at that.
Yes. Oh, that's right. You guys did talk about that initiative y'all did.
It's not something to talk about yet, right? Really.
No, the one you did last year. Was that last year?
Still can't talk about it.
It happened. What am I thinking? You guys did Funny or was it Funny or Die?
Oh, Funny or Die was something separate. We did that for Black Friday like two years ago.
Yeah, tell me about that. That was
listen, it had the potential to be amazing. We just did it too last minute. I mean, the folks at Funny or Die were like amazing. You know what I mean? They helped to create the content. They helped to get the artists on board. Dule Hill was in it. You know what I mean? So it was dope. We just weren't able to capitalize like in a timing way to make it really pop. That all goes back to planning. You know what I mean? So in timing for sure.
Well, look, we don't have much time. We're 13 months away?
That's nuts.
And we're less than 12 months away from several.
Listen, we're about to have elections take place in Virginia in November. Like the Virginia House of Delegates can completely flip in this November.
Can you tell us about that? Because I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, matter of fact, there's a record number of women who are running. Emily's List has endorsed, handfuls of women, both for the House of Delegates, for the state Senate. And it's in November, these races. Matter of fact, we're trying to get volunteers who want to go down and do GOTV, especially in the Hampton area, especially in Virginia Beach area.
Shout out.
For sure. You know, so there are local stuff happening right now.
How do people get connected to those races if they want to A, learn more about who's running, and B, if they want to volunteer their time?
Well, I think one start for everybody is to identify someone in your community that has the power over something that pisses you off. Like, if you really are pissed off about the quality of your schools, but you don't know any school board members, then start there. Start figuring out, like, everything is about power. You know, who has the power to give you what you need or what you want or what you deserve to have? And start there by seeing, you know, who controls what, and then you can help to figure out how you can have a say-so in that. So, like in Virginia, for example, we have women not just women, but for us, for Emily's List, we have women that are running all across the state. If you're in Northern Virginia, you're in Alexandria, you're in Arlington, there's like 4 or 5 women that are running for the House of Delegates. Find out if they're in your area. And if you are a person that supports pro-choice Democratic women, volunteer on her campaign. You can go to emilyslist.org for more information with that. You can go to the collectivepac.org for information about the candidates that we've endorsed across the country. Because volunteering on the campaign is like clutch. Campaigns always need volunteers.
Yes,
and not just door knocking, because a lot of folks don't like to do that, and I get that. I ain't doing that no more.
Some people don't like to do the call, even if you don't like to do calling and or door knocking. There's something for you to do. Listen, there's so many people that have like artistic skills, and they can, or they're a photographer, they're a painter, they're graphic design, digital graphic design.
They can just write something on the board, like you know what I mean. They like to cook. Hey, we need volunteers to give some food. They got a car. Can you go pick up supplies? I mean, there is something for everybody to do, something for everybody that they can do. And I think volunteering is key.
Interesting. Right. So if you hear that, you can go to emilyslist.org
and collectivepac.org
to learn more about the Virginia race. Well, thanks. I'm in the DMV. I hadn't really tuned into that, but my sister and her brother and a lot of their family is down in Virginia, especially in the Hampton area. So I'm gonna make sure they
so they can go and volunteer.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure we tap them in.
I got a question for you. So you went to Howard University.
Yes, sir.
Tell me how Howard influenced you into what you're doing now.
Oh boy.
Do we have enough time?
You know what? To be honest, so I wanted to leave like my whole first year. I was like,
for real?
To go where?
Back home.
Wow, okay.
You were homesick?
I was homesick. I happened to have a boyfriend at the time who went to another school. And I kind of wanted to be closer there or at home. I did not want to be lonely at Howard.
That was legendary.
And so I just kind of felt like, yo.
I did not know you wanted to leave.
Badly. I mean, crying on the phone. And my parents were like,
nope, not
but you were doing so well.
Not freshman year, though. So then I started to kind of get involved in stuff. And because I was also very intimidated. You know what I mean? If you like, I can't say the S word. I'm going to keep it classy. If you're the hot stuff in high school, and because all 4 years of, okay, I'm a nerd maybe. All 4 years of high school, I was class president. I've only known being class president. Well, shoot, I get to Howard and everybody's class president. You're not special no more. So Howard, like, to me, really taught me, like, oh, this is what Black excellence is.
It's about.
People smart, and they cute, and they funny, and I'm like, dang, I thought that was only me, bro. I'm just playing. But, like, for real, like, so I was intimidated. So Howard taught me that hustle, man. Like, you got to be able to get over yourself, get involved, meet people. And then when I ended up running as a sophomore, I ran as a sophomore for SGA president. I was actually the youngest female to ever serve because I was elected, didn't have to have a runoff election, and served as a junior. I also pledged that year.
You had a lot going on.
A lot going on junior year. But in the midst of the campaign, I had a team that like held me down. So that also like to me just showed me the power of you can't do nothing by yourself. Like nothing at all. I mean, my crew, they told me what to wear, where I had to be. Hey, you sucked. You supposed to do this. You ain't do that. They held me accountable. Also the power of being held accountable by people. And also you can't really worry about people that ain't worried about you.
Right.
Meaning,
say that again.
Like, I have friends that could hold me accountable because I trusted them, because we had each other's backs. We had proven ourselves to be involved, to care about our best interests. Whereas some people, they don't care nothing about you. They just don't want to see you succeed. And so being able to like differentiate those kind of people helped me out a whole lot. And I think just pride, like just pride in self, pride in Black people, pride in institutions also was really big. Like we need to have a Howard and a Jackson State and a Tougaloo around forever, because we need spaces for us to be able to cultivate ourselves. I think that's kind of what Howard taught me.
That's what's up.
I just got off the board. Earlier this year, I was on for 3 years. That was an experience. And so I've learned a lot about Howard University.
Good old Howard. Good old Howard. HU. You know, the real HU. Well, we've learned a lot. You've educated us, shared a lot about yourself and a lot of your endeavors and some of the things that you've done.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's a very good question. And okay, funny you asked that, because I've never been a person that can
think that far. It's not all the master plan.
Think that far. Want to think that far. Right. Like, I just feel like, all right, God, lead me where you want me to go. Now, I say that to say, I have plans for my family. I know where I want to be as it relates to being a mom. That I'm very crystal clear on. You know what I mean? Like, I know how active I want to be in my boys' lives, because for me, that's the utmost. Like, I feel as though my assignment now over the next 10 years is to be the best mother I can. That's my job. Anything outside of that helps supplement my job, which is to be a mother.
Gotcha.
Not to say that everything else is a paycheck, but that's not at all like what God has for me for an assignment right now. So when I think about 5 years out, I think about my children, and I think about my husband and the kind of relationship I want to have with him. But I would say, and it's funny because at one point in time, I left the NAACP and was like totally like down and out. And I moved back home to Cleveland, and I was working at this job in my church, and it was cool because I was an STD prevention educator and juvenile detention facilities, which also taught me a lot.
Yeah, you saw a lot.
And in homeless shelters, that taught me a lot. And then one day, Cameron came to my office, and he was like, "What are you doing? This is not you. You're not living up to your potential." Now I'm saying that he was like, "Steph, you are not living up to your potential, and you did not go to Howard University. You did not." And I was just like, "Oh my God." Like, it scared me. Like, he just gave me like the realest talk. When I say that this was a transformative like conversation for me to get my ish together. And I always reflect on that conversation, because literally after that, I said, you know what? He's right. Like, let me shake myself out of this. I don't know if it was a funk, but whatever it was, I wasn't living up to my potential. And because of that, I moved back to DC, worked a couple jobs, and ended up getting a job back at the NAACP. And that's when I became the National Youth and College Division Director, which was always my dream job. But I had...
And this is still in your 20s.
Yeah, I was 25 years old. Yeah, and so, I mean, I was field director at 29, which is the same job. What's his name? I forgot his name. But anyways, yeah, so like that was a pivotal moment for me to like realize. Also, again, you got to keep people around you. Yeah. That's going to keep it real with you, and that's going to help you see, okay, could you be doing more? Yeah, I could be. All right, then why aren't you? You know, so thank you, Cam.
You're welcome. You're welcome. She's told me that before, and I'm glad I can help I'm glad I could have given that, and that was probably not me speaking, that was God speaking through me, because you clearly have had so much to give to our culture, the people, shoot, America, as a whole since then, and like you said, you just getting started. We're still kind of in our prime. We just starting to all figure all of this out.
You're right.
Figure the game out. So we're going to close with this. This is something we ask everybody. We've asked members of Congress. We've asked multi-platinum artists. We've asked several of our colleagues and friends. We've kind of done our own. But
we did our own.
I'd love to know your list.
We're gonna have to re-up it. That was like episode 6 or something. This is episode 20 something. So we'll see when this comes out. But this is like maybe the 20th time we've done this. I forgot what his list was. I know 2 people, but that's about it. Top 5 dead or alive. It has to be in hip hop.
Okay.
But it can be hip hop adjacent. Because you're like, can I say John Coltrane? John Coltrane was influential, but I can't give you that one. And
so is this my list or what I think the list is?
No. This is completely
just
personal to you. So this could be somebody who put out 2 songs. But if those 2 songs are the most important things to you in hip hop,
so I would say 5. I wish I could give him 1, 2, and 3, because I am really, really, really inspired by Jay-Z. He's my 1, 2, 3. I'll say others, but. And it's more so, I love to see people's evolutions. And the fact that he's so multifaceted, to me, is what elevates him. This man is now a billionaire, which is just crazy.
Billionaire off rap.
But it's not even but that's the thing. It's off the foundation of hip hop has been, which shows you the power of hip hop. It is a tree that can have so many limbs to bear so much fruit. But if your tree is only getting certain kind of resources poured into it, is it going to bear as much fruit? Right. I don't know. And to be real talk, that's some of my challenge with some of the music out, right. And so so for me, Jay-Z being able to have a foot in so many different areas is motivating to me. And I just think he's smart. He's brilliant, to me, and his word choices and stuff. Good music. I also really love Drake. And I love Drake. This is not in no order. Jay-Z is in order. It don't have
to be in order. Jay-Z's number 1.
Hey, when you think about it, this dude got hits.
Who?
Drake.
What do you mean when you think about it? He's the number 1. He has the most.
I know, but people played a mess out of him.
He wasn't in my top 5.
People played a mess out of him.
The radio stations play a mess out of him.
But let me tell you something. When you go back and listen to his catalog, you be like, dang, this dude has hits for days. I respect that.
And Drake got a long. He still feels like he has a runway in front of him.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes, I love Nas. I just think he's brilliant. Brilliant.
I just caught a song with him and Amy Winehouse. I didn't even know they did a song together.
Oh, that was a good one.
Dude, was a good one. I missed when he was with the symphony orchestra.
Oh yeah, they said that was off the chain.
I heard that was dope.
At the Kennedy Center.
At the Kennedy Center, again, to be able to see his evolution is just dope. I like Wu-Tang Clan.
That's one.
That's one. I'm gonna lump them all together.
We always say some people say Andre 3000 without Big Boy.
And then some people say...
And I say you gotta have them together.
Some people say... Okay. No, you could do it either way. You could do it either way.
I love the unity of Wu-Tang. I just think...
Have you started
the unity,
that new series?
I've seen some of it. I haven't watched the whole thing. The unity of them and we just gonna do what we gonna do. And the fact that they can all be so individually dynamic and unique, but still come together and form a crew, I think that's dope. And then my last one I would say is probably I wish I had somebody new to say.
Right. They don't have to be new.
Cause I don't know if I have 5.
You don't have 5 people. You don't have anybody you listening to or old school, new school.
I mean, I listen to them, but I'm not
I ain't putting them up there on that pedestal.
Man, if I have a choice of, what am I gonna put on my Pandora station right now?
Interesting. So you got those 4. Well, Wu-Tang got so many people you can count them as 4 and 5. Or like you said, you wanted Jay-Z to be 1, 2, and 3. So
yeah,
those are good choices though.
I'm probably gonna think of 5, 6, and 7 when I leave here.
That's all right. We can do an addendum to the show.
So I'm gonna do an addendum. I'm gonna type it out.
Jay-Z, Drake, Nas, and the Wu-Tang Clan. Okay.
I love Common.
I like Common a lot.
I like Common.
Common sense.
I used to love Kanye.
Yeah, he's kind of.
Boy, oh boy.
He also used to have hits and sense.
Right. But a few things happened down the road.
But
you know what? He used to have hits and sense.
But listen, I ain't gonna judge that man because I don't know what all he been through. I just need him to just shoot sometimes. Right. You need to ask Quentin about Kanye when he's on here because we just had a whole thing over dinner on Sunday. That was our whole conversation. It's supposed to be date night, and we ended up talking about Kanye at home. So please, like, let's have that. Like, you need to have that conversation.
I will. We'll make sure we bring that up. We'll pass that question forward.
Right. So tell us about Kanye.
Yeah. Oh man.
A little birdie told me.
Oh, he will go off.
Wow, that's a good list. No one's mentioned Wu-Tang yet. I think one of our guests might have mentioned Method, but nobody's mentioned.
Well, Congresswoman did. No, she said Busta Rhymes.
She said Busta Rhymes. But yeah, they got a dope show. I've seen the first episode. It's like I can't wait to dive into it. I've been caught up with Homecoming and stuff like that, so I haven't gotten to watch TV. But
I didn't go to Homecoming this year.
And you were missed.
Sure.
But your presence is felt. Like I said, you uplifting the people. So we needed you out here working and doing what you do because
appreciate it.
Somebody got to do it.
Somebody got to do it. And I know everybody gives lip service and energy to say, "Well, you're gonna be there," but we need some leaders. And you are definitely one of the leaders. A new school, leaders of the old school, just leaders of the school. Stephanie, I want to say thank you. Continue to elevate, continue to push forward. Say what you have to say.
I just want to give a shout out to Mike.
Thank you. What I do?
Especially when my honey bun Quentin came to the Hill, you always had his back. And then by association, you always had my back.
Yeah, he came.
Always. So I don't think I've ever publicly just gave my appreciation. You are literally like the godfather of the Hill when it comes.
That's why we call him Mayor of Capitol
I mean,
Hill,
honestly, you just hold it down. And what I love is you work hard and you really play hard.
Yeah, have a good
and
time
that's
too.
My thing.
Yeah. Well, I just saw the potential that you, and then when you all got together, I said there's a power couple right there. And some people need to just get out of your get out of your way and let you do it because you have some people that want to hate. They don't want to. They don't want to help.
Oh, listen, when we first got together, ooh, baby, yeah, because Quinn's a little bit younger than me.
Yeah, but still, it's a dynamic combination.
Appreciate that.
And
appreciate that.
Sometimes you can't be
man.
enjoying them. So I feel like they're succeeding. I'm succeeding.
Appreciate
and
that.
So I know when, and then I know how they are because you can't. Some people come to me to try to get to them. And I'm like, it's not gonna work. I'm not sending them no riffraff because you gotta have your stuff together by the time you get to them.
Appreciate that, man.
It's all good.
No, and that's one of the main reasons why we've been talking. Mike actually, he gave me some inspirational things about this podcast because we've been talking about this for about 3 years. This has been on the brain. The name has been there for a while. He's like, when we doing the podcast, man, when we doing it, we get to be out here. Everybody's out here doing it.
You're right.
And it's one thing about Mike is that the reason why he was perfect for this is that he connects. If you come in as an intern, you come in as a chief of staff.
Yep.
Anywhere in between.
You're right.
He can, especially if you're black. He can make sure you touch. He can touch you.
He gonna F with you. I don't know how he just.
Your career. He can help connect you to who you need to connect to. Maybe whether it's professional or just like, hey, come back. We're having some drinks or we're having some talks.
Now he'll do that for the first convo. But after that first convo, if you prove that you ain't really about that, you may not get that second convo.
We have no time.
But you ain't got no time.
We got no time.
Yeah, for sure.
Elevate us as a people.
That's
so
right.
We'll come back and get you.
We're going to come back and get you, but
pull
yourself up,
these people
a
ready
bit.
to go right here. Let's go.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And to that, we ready to go.
And we got you have to come back after the elections.
Yes, would love to.
Send us some of your people you're working with. So we can get them on
listen,
here.
I can
send your local folks. We'd love to talk about.
Okay, all right, that'd be perfect. That'd be great.
Yeah, use us as a resource.
Do that. I will do
use
that.
Us as a resource.
Platform. Well, thank you.
Thank you guys. This was fun.
You want to tell us your information, how people can get in contact with you, social media?
Sure. So I am Steph Brown James on IG and Twitter. And I am...
Was that one F or two?
One. STEF Brown James on IG and Twitter. And Facebook is Steph Brown James. I don't know.
They can look it up. Put it in Google and come on up, put in your name in Facebook.
You can go to emilyslist.org and collectivepac.org.
Okay. And then you can also catch you... You're often a TV commentator as well?
Sometimes, every now and then.
Every now and then. So
yeah.
Catch you on one of your local...
You just did what show?
This week with George Stephanopoulos comes on ABC, 9 a.m.
Because George Stephanopoulos is paid. Allie Wentworth was his wife. They paid.
Listen, they doing their thing. He's also from Orange, Ohio. Did you know that?
He went to Orange?
He went to Orange High School. George Stephanopoulos did.
The little things you remember.
I know.
They got Greeks out there.
That's like the suburb right next to Bedford.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
1 or 2 suburbs over from
Every time I meet
couple
somebody
more
from Cleveland,
economic status.
I meet
is
somebody
up,
from Cleveland. I said, "So you from Shaker Heights, aren't you?" They were like, "How'd you know?"
Listen, a lot of people
Shaker
are.
Bedford,
A lot of Shaker.
yeah, or Twinsburg. You know.
Yep.
Well, thank you. You can make sure you follow us and subscribe on. Yes, we need more subscribers on YouTube now. We're on YouTube, so you'll see the full clips and the full episode. But it starts all with the audio, so you subscribe right on Stitcher, iTunes. Well, now that's changeling, so Apple Music, and then our base is SoundCloud. Please share it. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You can hit us on comments, hitpoliticspodcast@gmail.com if you want to have any questions or topics you think we should address. And then we do most of our information and promotion right on Twitter and IG. So Hip Politics Podcast and Hip Politics News. I mean, we all over. We got all over.
Yeah,
we got
sure.
Trying to take over the world. CNN who?
You can follow
Love
me, your
it.
boy, Mr. Cameron Calvin, aka Mr. Hip Politics, aka Mr. 216-202. You can follow me at Mr. Cameron Calvin on all platforms. Mike, where can they find you?
At DC Nuke 90, most platforms.
Most platforms.
Well, not on everything.
And not on everything, because I don't need you to connect to me on everything. Well, thank you, Stephanie. Thanks,
you,
Mike.
guys.
It's been a great
Appreciate
conversation. I learned a lot. I know hopefully our listeners learned a lot. And until next time, we're out. Peace.
Hip politics, baby.
Shorty, you the no filter. IG pic, no filter. You could get the no filter. I'ma tell her how it is, no filter. Shorty, you the no filter. IG pic, no filter.